The presidential election held on February 25, 2023 is one that has generated several reactions, especially against the background of the provision of the Electoral Act 2022. The candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, and the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, rejected the outcome of the exercise as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Thank you.
The prayers are quite similar. Mr. Peter Obi and the Labour Party is praying the court for the following: that the tribunal should cancel the election and compel INEC to conduct a fresh one, at which Tinubu, Shettima and APC will not participate. The tribunal should declare that Tinubu was not duly elected by a majority of the lawful votes cast during the election. The tribunal should order INEC to retrieve the certificate of return issued to Tinubu and issue a fresh one to Obi. The petitioners asserted that the election was marred by rigging and manipulations, and INEC violated its own regulations when it announced the result, when at the time of the announcement, the total polling unit results had yet to be fully scanned, uploaded, and transmitted electronically as required by the Electoral Act. Obi particularly says Tinubu was not qualified to contest at the time of the election. They also prayed the tribunal to declare that Tinubu was not duly elected by a majority of the lawful votes cast at the election. Just like Mr. Peter Obi, Mr. Atiku Abubakar and the PDP are asking the tribunal to declare him winner of the presidential election, or alternatively order a rerun between him and the presidential-elect Bola Tinubu. In the alternative, he wants the entire election nullified and a fresh one conducted. The petition also states that Tinubu was not duly elected by a majority of lawful votes cast at the election, and at the time of the election, he was not qualified to contest the election. They are also praying the court for the following: to determine that the president-elect was not duly elected by the majority of lawful votes cast in the election, and therefore the declaration and return of him by INEC as a winner of the presidential election is unlawful, wrong, unconstitutional, and of no effect whatsoever. Determined that the rerun of Tinubu by INEC was unlawful, having not satisfied the requirements of the Electoral Act 2022 and the 1999 Constitution as amended, which mandatorily requires that he scores nothing less than 1/4, that's 25% of the lawful votes cast at the election, in at least 2/3 of all the states in the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Determined that Tinubu was at the time of the election not qualified to contest the said election. Determined that Atiku Abubakar, having scored the majority of lawful votes cast at the presidential election, be returned as a winner of the said election and be sworn in as a duly elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In the alternative, however, they are asking the court for an order directing INEC to conduct a second election between Tinubu and Atiku. In the further alternative, that the election to the office of the President of Nigeria, held on 25th February 2023, be nullified and a fresh election be ordered. However, the All Progressive Congress, in its replies, asked the Presidential Election Petition Court to dismiss the petitions filed by the opposition parties. It described the petition filed by Atiku Abubakar against his election victory as a gross abuse of court process. Responding to Obi's petition in a preliminary objection, Senator Tinubu maintained that the Labour Party's candidate lacked the right to challenge the election victory. He argued that Obi was not validly nominated to contest the presidential election in line with the mandatory provisions of Section 77, Subsection 2 and Subsection 3 of the Electoral Act 2022. He insists that Obi's name was not found in the register of members of the Labour Party, noting that he defected to the party from the PDP less than 30 days before the primary election that produced him as a presidential candidate was conducted. The Independent National Electoral Commission also threw its weight behind the president-elect, asking the tribunal to dismiss or strike out the petitions filed by Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar. INEC said the relief sought by Obi and his party are not grantable as they were grossly incompetent, abusive, vague, non-specific and academic. The Electoral Commission also says Atiku Abubakar did not meet the constitutional requirements to be declared winner of the election. INEC asked that the election was conducted in substantial compliance with the Electoral Act 2022 and was not marred by any corrupt practices. It argued that a candidate must not secure 25% votes in the FCT to be declared winner. As the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal gets ready to begin proceedings, members of the panel are charged to uphold its tenets of integrity, professionalism, and the rule of law. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.